Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to break down the core philosophy behind Jordan Peterson's mega bestseller, 12 Rules for Life. We'll get into what he actually means by this idea of an antidote to chaos. The book kicks off with this really strange, kind of troubling question about us, about people. Why is it that when a doctor gives someone a prescription for life-saving medicine, a whole lot of them, well, they just don't take it? And, the numbers are just staggering. I mean, look at this. The source material points out that about a third of people who get a prescription won't even go fill it. And then, get this, of the people who do fill it, about half of them won't take the medicine correctly. This even happens with patients who've just had an organ transplant. Think about that. They're literally rejecting a second chance at life.
So what's going on here? The book argues this isn't just people being forgetful. No, it's a symptom of something much deeper, something that affects almost all of us. And it's this. We often fail to treat ourselves like someone we're responsible for helping. We'd give a pet its medicine without a second thought, but we don't do the same for ourselves. It points to this kind of hidden self-loathing, or at least a lack of self-respect. Okay, so if we can't even count on ourselves to, take our meds to stay alive, what are we supposed to be aiming for in life? The book makes a really strong case that aiming for happiness is actually a terrible idea. It pulls in this powerful quote from Alexander Solzhenitsyn, who basically says that the idea that we're made for happiness gets crushed by the first hard thing that happens to us. And life is full of hard things, right? Suffering is inevitable. So a life goal of happiness is just too flimsy. We need something tougher, something more resilient. We need meaning. All right, so where do we find this meaning then? To explain it, the book lays out this kind of map of experience. It's not a map of the physical world, not of matter, but of what matters to us. And on this map, everything, our whole reality, is built from two primal competing forces. First up, you have chaos. Chaos is basically the unknown. It's that feeling you get when you're thrown for a loop. Maybe you get laid off, a relationship suddenly ends, or you're just facing something totally new. It's where things are unpredictable. And yeah, it can be scary, but it's also where all the potential for new things comes from. And the twin of chaos is order. Order is, well, it's the exact opposite. It's the explored territory, it's structure, it's security, it's your home, your job, your friends, your daily routine. It's the feeling that you know what's going on and things are unfolding just the way you expect them to. So you have these two forces, right? Order and chaos. And they represent this constant tug-of-war that is our life. We absolutely need order to feel secure. But if you have too much of it, it becomes tyranny, completely rigid and stifling. On the other hand, we need chaos for new ideas, for freedom, for growth. But too much chaos is just, it's chaos. It's overwhelming and destructive. The key idea here is that we live our lives right on that razor's edge, that border between the two. Now, here's where it gets really fascinating. The book argues that this whole order versus chaos thing isn't just some abstract idea. No way. It's a pattern that's hardwired into reality itself. You can see it playing out everywhere, from the biology of something like a lobster all the way up to our most ancient myths and stories. Yeah, lobsters. Seriously. They've been on this planet for 350 million years. So their nervous systems are ancient. And they have a really clear social structure. That's their form of order. When two lobsters size each other up for a territory, they don't just start fighting. First, they do this little chemical dance, basically posturing and trying to intimidate each other. It's this whole ritual that establishes who's the top lobster, creating a stable hierarchy, usually without a full-blown bloody fight. And the result of this whole lobster showdown? You get a stable system. The winner gets the best shelter, the best food, the most mates, and that success just makes it more likely they'll win again. The book ties this to what's known as the Matthew Principle, from a verse in the Bible. It basically says that those who have get more, and those who have not lose what little they have. It's this principle of unequal distribution that you see everywhere, not just with lobsters. And this dynamic isn't just in biology, it's right at the heart of our oldest stories too. Take the Garden of Eden. The book interprets this myth as a story about, consciousness itself. The garden is a perfect, walled-off state of unconscious order. Everything's perfect, but nobody knows it. Then along comes the serpent. That's chaos, the unknown slithering into the garden. And eating the forbidden fruit, that's the moment we become self-aware. It's the birth of consciousness, and with it comes the painful knowledge of good and evil, of our own vulnerability, and the fact that we're going to die.
Okay, so this is the absolute crucial turning point. We aren't just helpless puppets tossed between chaos and order. The book argues there's a third, game-changing element in the mix, and that is consciousness, our awareness. This is the thing that makes us human. It's our ability to see this dynamic playing out and to actually choose our path, to decide how we're going to act. So what is our role in all this? What are we supposed to do? Our purpose, according to this philosophy, is to stand right on that line, that border between the known and the unknown. It means choosing to face the scary, chaotic things in life, taking what's valuable from that experience and bringing it back to make our current world, our order, better, stronger, and more alive. And this right here, this is the antidote to chaos. See? It all comes together. The answer isn't to build bigger walls to keep chaos out, and it's not to just cling to tradition for dear life. The true antidote? It's the deep sense of meaning that we forge for ourselves when we voluntarily, willingly confront the unknown. Okay, that all sounds great, but how do we actually do that? Well, that's where the 12 rules themselves come in. They're basically the practical, boots-on-the-ground strategies for living out this whole philosophy. For instance, Rule 1, stand up straight with your shoulders back. That's not just about posture. It's about physically embodying the attitude of someone who's ready and willing to face life's challenges. Or Rule 2, treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. That goes right back to that problem with the pills we talked about at the beginning, right? It's about taking direct responsibility for your own well-being. And Rule 8, tell the truth. That's about using your words, your consciousness, to bring forth a better reality, to create habitable order from the chaos of deceit. So when you boil it all down, what's the ultimate takeaway? It's this. Life is going to have suffering. That's a guarantee. It's part of the deal. But, and this is the big but, if you choose to accept the responsibility of facing that suffering, of staring down the chaos of life head-on, you can discover a meaning for your existence that is so deep, so profound, that it makes all the struggle, all the pain, not just bearable, but worthwhile. And that really leaves us with a final, pretty piercing question. It's the central challenge of the whole book, really. If a meaningful life isn't found by running away from what's hard, but by running towards it, then the most important question you can ask yourself is, what's the chaos in your life that you know you need to confront, but have been avoiding?